Imagine waking up one day and everything you thought you knew about the universe was flipped on its head. You find out we're not alone, man. There have been other civilizations, other intelligent beings out there in the cosmos, and not just out there, right next door on Mars. And what if I told you that NASA, the guys who are supposed to be exploring space, have been sitting on this information for decades? We're talking about potential evidence of ancient alien civilizations, structures on Mars that look eerily like pyramids, and a giant goddamn face staring back at us from the surface of the red planet. This isn't some fringe theory, man. We're talking about pictures, data, and questions that NASA seems real hesitant to answer. Today we're diving deep into the mystery of the face on Mars, the possibility of ancient alien civilizations, and the question that's haunted humanity since we first looked up at the stars. Are we alone? Buckle up because this is a wild ride. It all started back in 1976. Picture this. NASA's Viking 1 spacecraft is orbiting Mars, snapping photos of the surface, standard space exploration stuff. The mission was primarily to find suitable landing sites for future missions and to gather data about the Martian environment. They're looking for landing sites for future missions, and then boom! They get this image from a region called Cydonia. This area was already intriguing to scientists due to its unique topography. And it's not just any image, man. This photo shows what looks like a giant freaking face staring right back at the camera. The image was so clear that it immediately caught the attention of everyone who saw it. I'm not talking about some blurry mess that you have to squint at and use your imagination. This was a high-resolution image, leaving little room for doubt. This thing has clearly defined features. Eyes, a nose, a mouth. It was almost too perfect, like it was designed to be seen. It looks like something straight out of ancient Egypt, like a giant sphinx chilling on the Martian surface. The resemblance to human-made structures on Earth was uncanny. The thing is massive, too, like 3 kilometers long. That's about the size of a small city. This isn't some little artifact, it's a colossal structure that stands out prominently on the Martian landscape. Now you'd think NASA would be freaking out, right? I mean, this could be evidence of an ancient civilization on Mars. Evidence of a giant face on Mars, that's huge. It could change everything we know about the history of our solar system. But instead, they release the image to the public and are like, oh, that's just a trick of the light and shadows. They downplayed it as a natural formation. Come on, man! A trick of the light? That explanation just doesn't sit right with a lot of people. This thing looks like it was carved by something or someone with a plan. The symmetry and detail are too precise to be a mere coincidence. And it's not just the face either. The surrounding area is filled with other anomalies that raise even more questions. There are these other structures nearby that look like pyramids. Pyramids! These formations add another layer of mystery to the whole scenario. Independent researchers and scientists start looking at the data and they're like, hold on, this isn't adding up. They begin to question the official narrative. If it's just an illusion, why are there all these other weird geometric shapes around it? The consistency of these shapes suggests something more than random natural formations. It just doesn't make sense. The more you look into it, the more questions arise, and the mystery deepens. So we've got this giant face staring back at us from Mars. And as if that wasn't enough, we've got these pyramid-shaped structures hanging out nearby. And let me tell you, these aren't just some random piles of rocks. These things are massive, and they're arranged in a way that looks suspiciously planned out. Think about the pyramids in Egypt, right? They're not just scattered randomly across the desert. They're laid out in this specific geometric pattern that aligns with the stars. Well, guess what? The pyramids on Mars? Same deal. And it gets even weirder. The pyramids in Egypt are aligned with the Orion constellation. And guess what else? The pyramids on Mars? You guessed it. Also aligned with Orion. It's like they were built by the same architects, except one set is on Earth and the other is on a planet millions of miles away. And the similarities don't stop there. Some of these Martian pyramids are almost the exact same size as the pyramids in Egypt. It's almost like someone took a blueprint and said, let's build these on Mars too. So what are we supposed to make of all this? Did ancient civilizations on Earth get their inspiration from Mars? Were the builders of the Egyptian pyramids actually descendants of Martians? It sounds crazy, but when you look at the evidence, it's hard to ignore the possibility that something truly strange is going on. Chapter 3. Let's just think about this for a second. What would happen if NASA came out and said, You know what? Those pyramids on Mars? Yeah, those were built by aliens. We've known about it for years, but we didn't want to freak everyone out. The world would lose its collective mind. Imagine the chaos, the panic, the sheer disbelief that would ripple through society. Religions would be shaken to their core. The foundational beliefs of many would be questioned, leading to a crisis of faith for millions. Our entire understanding of history, of humanity's place in the universe, would be completely upended. We'd have to rewrite textbooks, reevaluate our past, and reconsider our future. And that's exactly why some people think NASA is keeping this whole thing under wraps. They believe that the truth is too disruptive, too paradigm-shifting to be revealed. They think that the powers that be, the governments and organizations that control the flow of information, are terrified of what would happen if the truth about Mars got out. The potential for societal upheaval is just too great. And when you look at how NASA has handled this whole thing, it's not hard to see why people are suspicious. The secrecy, the selective release of information, it all adds up. It's not hard to see why people are suspicious. The lack of transparency fuels the fire of conspiracy theories. Remember that clear image of the face on Mars that Viking 1 took? It was a sensation, sparking debates and theories worldwide. Well, years later, NASA released new images of the same area, but this time, the images were blurry and kind of off. It was as if the clarity had been intentionally reduced. But this time, the images were blurry and kind of off. It's almost like they deliberately tried to make the face look less clear, less like a face. It's almost like they deliberately tried to make the face look less clear, less like a face. This has led many to believe that there is a deliberate effort to obscure the truth. And every time someone tries to bring up the possibility of ancient civilizations on Mars, NASA is quick to shut down the conversation. They dismiss it outright, without thorough investigation. NASA is quick to shut down the conversation. They dismiss it as a conspiracy theory, a bunch of crazy talk. They dismiss it as a conspiracy theory, a bunch of crazy talk. But if there's nothing to hide, why not be more transparent? But if there's nothing to hide, why not be more transparent? Why not release all the data and let the scientific community examine it? Why not release all the data and let the scientific community examine it? Open collaboration could lead to groundbreaking discoveries. It's not just Mars, either. There are strange structures and anomalies on other planets and moons in our solar system. There are strange structures and anomalies on other planets and moons in our solar system. Things that look an awful lot like artificial structures. Things that look an awful lot like artificial structures. These anomalies raise questions that deserve answers. But NASA doesn't seem too keen on investigating those either. It's like they're trying to keep a lid on something. It's like they're trying to keep a lid on something to control what we know and what we don't know about our universe. To control what we know and what we don't know about our universe. The question remains, what are they so afraid of us finding out? Chapter 4. Here's where things get really wild. What if, and just hear me out on this, what if our ancestors actually came from Mars? Imagine a time when Mars was a thriving planet, teeming with life and advanced civilizations. I know, it sounds crazy. But let's dive deeper into this fascinating theory. There are some people out there, and I'm talking about serious researchers, who believe that this might be the case. Think about it, these aren't just fringe theorists. Some of them are respected scientists and historians. We know that Mars was once a much more habitable planet than it is today. It had conditions that could have supported life. It had water, a thicker atmosphere, the whole 9 yards. Imagine rivers, lakes, and possibly even oceans. So, it's not crazy to think that life could have evolved there, maybe even intelligent life. Picture a civilization that might have been as advanced or even more advanced than ours. And if those Martians were anything like us, they probably screwed up their planet just like we're screwing up ours. Environmental damage, resource depletion, you name it. Maybe their climate changed. Or maybe they had some kind of nuclear war. The possibilities are endless and equally terrifying. Whatever happened, it forced them to look for a new home. And guess what? They set their sights on Earth. Earth was right there, ripe for the taking. A planet with abundant resources and a suitable atmosphere. So they packed up their spaceships, or whatever they were using back then, and made the journey across space to our little blue planet. Imagine the technology and determination it would have taken to make such a journey. Now I know what you're thinking. Where's the evidence? It's a fair question. Well, some people believe that the evidence is all around us. From ancient artifacts to mysterious sites that defy conventional explanations. Think about all the ancient myths and stories from cultures all over the world that talk about gods coming down from the sky and teaching humanity about agriculture, astronomy, and all sorts of advanced knowledge. These stories are remarkably consistent across different cultures and time periods. Could those gods have actually been Martian refugees? It's a tantalizing possibility. And then there's the whole question of human DNA. Our genetic code holds many mysteries. Some researchers have pointed out that there are certain anomalies in our genetic code that are difficult to explain by conventional evolutionary theory. These anomalies could be clues to our extraterrestrial origins. Could these anomalies be evidence of an extraterrestrial origin? It's a question that continues to intrigue scientists and researchers. Look, I'm not saying that I know for sure that our ancestors came from Mars, but it's a theory that opens up a world of possibilities. When you consider all the evidence, the pyramids, the face, the strange structures on other planets, the ancient myths, it's definitely a possibility that's worth considering. The universe is vast and full of mysteries, and who knows what secrets it holds about our origins. The face on Mars, the pyramids, the possibility of ancient civilizations, it's all one hell of a mystery, man. We're talking about potentially rewriting history, about changing our entire understanding of humanity's place in the universe. This isn't just some fringe theory. This is about facing the possibility that we are not alone, that we might even be the descendants of refugees from another planet. NASA might be trying to keep a lid on this, but the truth has a way of coming out. More and more people are starting to ask questions, to demand answers, and sooner or later, the truth about Mars, about what's really out there in the universe, is going to come out. So keep looking up, keep asking questions, and don't let anyone tell you what to believe. The truth is out there, and it's a hell of a lot stranger than we ever imagined. And for more mind-blowing explorations of the unknown, hit that subscribe button and join the secret organization. We're just getting started.